The dawn broke over Iroku Plains with the kind of silence that comes before a storm. Mara knelt in the mud outside what used to be her home, her belongings scattered around her like broken promises. Her hands trembled as she reached for a torn photograph of her wedding day, now soaked and unrecognizable. "You're barren. No man should suffer this shame." Toba's voice cut through the morning air like a blade. He stood in the doorway, his face twisted with rage and something else. Relief, perhaps. Relief that he finally had permission to let go. Mara looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. "Toba, please, we can try again. We can try." He laughed bitterly. "I've wasted 5 years trying, 5 years of whispers, of shame, of being the man whose wife can't even give him a child. I'm done." The neighbors had already begun to gather, their faces a mixture of pity and judgment. Mrs. Adana clutched her wrapper tighter around her waist, shaking her head slowly. Old Papa Chike spat into the dirt and walked away. This was how it happened in Iroku Plains: swift, public, and without mercy. From across the street, Rina watched with eyes that seemed to absorb everything. Her lips curved slightly, not quite a smile, but something close to satisfaction. She had waited a long time for this moment. Years ago, in Opal Village, things had been different. Mara and Rina had been inseparable, two girls who shared everything: secrets, dreams, laughter that echoed through the market stalls. They braided each other's hair under the mango tree and made promises about the future, about growing old together, about being sisters forever. Then Toba arrived. He was a craftsman from the north, with strong hands and a smile that made promises without words. Both girls noticed him, but Rina saw him first. She would linger near his workshop, finding excuses to walk past when he was carving wood or mending tools. But Toba's eyes followed Mara instead. Quiet, gentle Mara, with her soft voice and softer heart. When Toba asked Mara's father for her hand, Rina stood beside her friend at the celebration, clapping and ululating with the other women. But alone at night, something dark took root in her chest, something that grew thorns and fed on bitterness. "I'm so happy for you, Rina," she said, embracing Mara on her wedding day. "He's a good man. You deserve this." Mara had believed her. She had always believed Rina. The first year of marriage was hard but hopeful. Toba and Mara lived in a single room behind the main market, saving every coin, eating simple meals, building their life brick by brick. They laughed despite the difficulties, held each other through the long nights, and spoke about the children they would have. 3, maybe 4, a house full of noise and love. But the children never came. Month after month, the blood came instead, and with it the whispers. At first, the women in the market were kind, offering herbs and prayers and advice. But as the months turned into years, kindness hardened into judgment. A woman who cannot bear children is like a field that refuses to yield, Mrs. Adana said loudly one day, making sure Mara could hear it. Perhaps the land itself is cursed. Toba began coming home later, speaking less, his face tight with shame. The way his friends looked at him, with pity, with mockery, ate at him like rust. When Mara tried to touch him, to comfort him, he would pull away. "I'm tired, Mara. Just let me sleep." She would lie beside him in the darkness, feeling the distance between them grow wider than the narrow bed they shared. She prayed desperately, bargaining with God, with ancestors, with anyone who might listen. If only she could give him a child, everything would be right again. Love would be enough again. That's when Rina came back into their lives, appearing at their door one evening with a basket of food and concern etched on her face. "I've been hearing things," Rina said, sitting beside Mara on the floor, "about the struggles you're facing. I want to help." Mara's eyes filled with tears, There's nothing anyone can do. We've tried everything. The herbs, the prayers, the rituals. Nothing works. Rina took her hand, squeezing gently. There are new ways now, Mara, modern ways. There's a clinic in the city, Sunrise Reproductive Center. They can run proper tests, find out exactly what's wrong. I know people there. Let me help you. Hope flickered in Mara's chest, fragile as a candle flame. You would do that for us? We're sisters, aren't we? Rina smiled. I never stopped caring about you. Toba was reluctant at first, his pride wounded by the idea of doctors examining his manhood, but Rina was persuasive, gentle, persistent. She spoke to him privately, away from Mara, using words that soothed his ego while planting seeds of possibility. The tests are confidential, she assured him. No one needs to know. And when you come back with a child, all the whispers will stop. You'll be respected again. The clinic was bright and sterile, smelling of antiseptic and air conditioning. Dr. Kalechi was professional, efficient, asking questions while making notes on his clipboard. Blood was drawn, samples collected, forms signed. Mara and Toba held hands in the waiting room, united for the first time in months by shared anxiety and hope. Rina handled everything, scheduling appointments, collecting results, translating the medical terminology. She became indispensable, the bridge between their desperation and possible salvation. What they didn't see were the private conversations she had with the lab technician, the envelope of money that changed hands, and the results that were quietly altered before being placed in the official folder. 2 weeks later, Rina arrived at their home with tears in her eyes and devastating news. I don't know how to tell you this, Rina said, her voice breaking convincingly. She held the medical folder like it contained poison. The test came back. Toba, your sperm count is almost 0. You cannot father children. The room went silent. Toba's face drained of color, then flooded red with fury. That's impossible. That's a lie. I wish it were, Rina said softly. I double-checked with Dr. Kalechi myself. I'm so sorry. Toba stood up abruptly, his chair clattering backward. No, those doctors don't know what they're talking about. This is some conspiracy, Toba, please. Mara reached for him, her heart breaking for his pain. It's not your fault. We can find another way. He jerked away from her touch, as if burned. Just don't. He left the house, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. Mara sank to the floor, sobbing, feeling the weight of failure crushing her chest. All this time, she had blamed herself, had carried the shame like stones in her pockets. Now knowing it wasn't her fault should have brought relief, but instead she felt only guilt. Guilt for the anger she had directed at her own body. Guilt for the suffering Toba must have hidden. Rina sat beside her, rubbing her back in slow circles. It will be okay, she murmured. We'll find a solution. The solution came 2 weeks later, presented with careful calculation. Rina arrived with pamphlets about egg donation programs. Listen, she said, spreading the brochures on the table. There are women who cannot produce healthy eggs. They need donors. The clinic pays very well, enough money to start a real business. Toba can open his own workshop, become independent. The respect he's lost could be rebuilt with success. Mara stared at the images of smiling women and happy families. You want me to give away my eggs? You would be helping other families while saving your own, Rina explained. The money could change everything. Toba would see your sacrifice, your dedication to him. It might heal what's broken between you. The idea felt wrong, like selling parts of herself. But what choice did she have? Their marriage was crumbling, Toba barely looked at her anymore, and the weight of community judgment grew heavier each day. If this could bring back the man who once loved her, wasn't it worth any price? I'll do it, Mara whispered. The first donation was painful. The medications, the injections, the extraction procedure that left her cramping and exhausted. But when she handed Toba the envelope of money, she saw a flicker of something in his eyes. Interest, possibility, even gratitude. "This is good," he said, counting the bills. "Very good. How often can you do this?" "Every few months, if you think it helps." "It helps," he said, and for the first time in weeks, he touched her face. "You're finally useful." The word stung, but Mara swallowed the pain. Useful was better than worthless. Useful meant he still needed her. She donated again and again. Each time her body protested more violently. The headaches, the nausea, the hormonal storms that left